when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman.
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo.
Welcome to Couch in the Roo, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, inspiring people to be better, look better, feel better, treat their children better, treat their spouses better, live better every damn day of their lives. Jason, how you doing, man?
What's up, buddy? Why didn't we take this week off instead of last week? I mean, we're home run contest and then 2 days of dead period.
We got lots
NBA
of stuff.
Finals.
We have 2 weeks of stuff to catch up on.
Well, that is true.
There's a million things to happen.
I was just wondering. I'm like, why would we should just take this week off? But, you know, good to see you. You know what? Raccoon Graham, I hate you for life. I don't know if you saw it, but he put your face on Right Said Fred's video.
I did.
And that one's hard to shake. Some of those other ones you can shake off and go just laugh, but that one was hard to shake. Seeing Graham's face on Right Said Fred. Don't check it out.
There were a number of really good, what are the accounts called?
Fan accounts?
Fan accounts, something.
Sure.
Not fan. Fans are rough. Burner accounts.
Listener accounts? Funny people?
Yes, accounts.
Okay.
That did good things over the 2 weeks we were off. And it felt good to be away, but it feels great to be back. And by the way, I made Skymint a family affair.
You got mom there?
I've done it. No, but mother-in-law is in. Wife is in.
Okay.
These are steps. So it's my mother-in-law's birthday month celebration, whatever. We have them over last Saturday, and my wife says to me on Saturday morning, "Hey, my mom's had kind of a tough month. What do you think about going to? I think she'd like some Skymint gummies."
Mm-hmm. That's
all I needed to hear.
Get her some dabs.
I was in the car before she finished the word gummies.
Right.
Stacked up my own stash is replenished. Got her 3 options for herself to get her through the day and enjoy life just a little bit more. And she was very pleased with the gift. So now my wife's on board, and I earned brownie points with the mother-in-law. And this is the mother-in-law, by the way, that I worry about sometimes when I tell my stories that aren't great.
Right.
That she stops paying attention to me or gets up and just leaves.
Divorce lawyer,
mother-in-law. And but she's totally on board with Skymint. So that was exciting. And yeah,
good. It's a family adventure. Your mom will come around.
Absolutely. A reminder: Skymint locations 3 in the greater Lansing area, many more throughout Michigan. You probably live within a half hour of one. Go to skymint.com for daily specials. And don't forget in locations, and don't forget to use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off. I used it this weekend. They had a deal going, but it worked with part of the deal, and it still was more. It was a better discount than I would have gotten otherwise. So CouchAndRube20, they'll look that up for you, and wherever any Skymint location, you'll be able to use that.
I was there 3 times in our 2-week hiatus.
It's beautiful.
I know. Thanks, Skymint.
That's beautiful.
Saved my 4th of July.
Yeah, no, all 5 fingers, by the way.
No fireworks this year. I stayed home with a scared dog that was on Xanax, so no fireworks for me. Therese went to Wisconsin with her family, and I stayed back watching the dog.
You guys having problems?
No, the dog is. The dog has had anxiety ever since that hailstorm that we had a couple weeks ago. She was alone by herself, so she, the big booms and all that stuff at 5 in the afternoon. So you give her a couple Xanax, and she's good. So I stayed back with the dog.
All right.
Yeah, everything's good. It's fantastic.
There are stories we'll get into soon. I think we've got stories worth telling that'll come up during the course of this show. Presented by Midtown Brewing Company, which, by the way, 20% off on Monday. So if you're looking for something to do today, Midtown Brewing Company, great place to go. And Matt Mancarini's coming into town this week, so he and I will be back at Midtown Brewing Company, cozied up at the bar, having an American stout, sharing journalism.
Does he still do the white shirt thing?
Well, always wears a white shirt?
Yeah.
He looks good in white.
I know he does, but I just was always, amazed me that it was always the white shirt.
Absolutely. I haven't seen him in a while, so we'll see. We'll see if he pulls that off in the summer. All right, we're going to dig into our hot takes and then get into yours. Are you ready to go with these?
Yeah, and it's pretty clear. Al Avila's ass.
Okay, is that where we're starting?
You want to start with me?
Yeah,
that was my first one. Okay. I don't know if that's really a hot take because many people are feeling that way. Now, I am not going to try to say that I know anything about these prospects. I know Leiter, and I know Kumar Rocker because they pitched on Vanderbilt. The kid Job they drafted last night, I know that his dad was a professional golfer. Other than that, I have no idea. But how you pass on a for sure shortstop that many people in their mock drafts had going number 1 overall, and you a position that the Tigers need, and you take another pitcher. I mean, this kid will probably be good, but I just think, Al Avila, what are you doing?
So, yeah.
It was kind of a bummer last night.
It was a bummer at first. And it's
watching the Pirates take a catcher first, I'm like, oh, my God, we're going to have a pick of whoever we want here.
It is a bummer. And we've lived through this following the Pistons with, what certainly happened with Luke Kennard, Donovan Mitchell. Like, the obvious guy, don't get cute sometimes, right? Take the difference is here, and I'm not sticking up for Al Avila because a couple things. One, it's one thing if you've got some trust from the fan base to do this.
You've made some moves. Yeah, you have to have sort of a reputation to pull a move like that, right?
Al Avila doesn't have this. Where I would push back, and this will get into my second take, so I'm going to move this up because I have an MSU football take one, but I'll move these around. Not that that's hard to do. Like, I don't even know why I need to announce that. So I'm going to go
you say it out loud.
Yes.
If you say it out loud, it makes you feel better.
It's for my own sake.
Right.
Where I'll push back a little bit is the shortstop is also a high school kid.
Absolutely.
So Marcelo Mayer is not a sure thing. None of these guys are sure things. If you go through the first round of a Major League Baseball draft year after year, the number of guys you've never heard of that never make the big leagues is immense.
Yes.
So, but it's even more risky with a pitcher and a high school pitcher. I'm with you on that. So
who just picked up baseball a year ago? And you're saying a lot of the baseball guys are saying that Marcelo Mayer is going to be like a really good shortstop. He's a left-handed guy. I mean, it just seems like a pick that was an easy pick for Al Avila to make. And I understand that he would be a while for him to get up to the team, but so what?
So staying with it, I like high school pitcher. Like if you look at, I think it's 15 years of high school pitchers. Like Clayton Kershaw is like the only top pick who's panned out in the last 15 years. And I would absolutely prefer a position player at this point when you look at the roster. And I'd prefer somebody else take the risk and the likely Tommy John surgery, which happens at some point. I mean, here's part of the issue is that when you're constructing a roster, like if you look at the Tigers pitchers, top pitchers, starters from 2006 to 16, which, by the way, is a longer run competing near the top than most clubs get. Like, look at the Cubs. They're already done, like, 6 years into their run, right? They didn't get 2000, and I understand there were years where the Tigers weren't in the playoffs, but they pretty much had a decade where they were every year in play, right?
Yep.
But you look at the top guys, only Justin Verlander was a homegrown staple for that entire stretch. Jeremy Bonderman at the beginning, Rick Barcelo a little later, Kenny Rogers, Max Scherzer, Anibal Sanchez, David Price, Doug Fister. These are all guys brought in. Like, you can bring in pitchers when you're ready. You don't need to homegrown all of the guys. And half these guys are going to have, Tommy John arm surgery. So when GMs go against the grain, I mean, like if this is Troy Weaver, he could make this pick. He would have that credibility right now.
But Troy Weaver also hasn't won anything yet.
His
moves have turned out,
He had a good first round, though. But
absolutely.
When you have
so far, so good.
When you hit on 3 first-round picks and you have 3 first-round picks and you make moves to get them in year one, we'll sit with you for a minute and we'll listen. We'll listen to what you're doing. And if Mayer winds up being a stud and Job flushes out,
and yeah, that's fine. That's what I mean. It was nothing against Jackson Job. I mean, I just wanted to,
the thing is,
you have a left-handed shortstop that everybody's like, I can't believe fell to you, and you sit there and pass on it for another right-hander. I don't know.
A couple things. One, it'll happen after the judgment day for Avila. Like these guys are 3 to 5 years away where they're drafting. Avila's judgment day is before that. Like, they're both prep guys. They're a ways out. You're not waiting on a shortstop when you need to sign a shortstop. You're signing a shortstop this offseason either way. It is go time now for the Tigers, right? You had Batch. You had another arm. Job is not part of the rebuild. You're hoping to add another young ace to a team that's already in the mix 4 years from now. That's what you're looking at. This is not part of the rebuild. The rebuild is essentially over in terms of drafts for Al Avila. And as long as he understands that this is not that this doesn't prolong the rebuild, I'm waiting for Job to show up. No. That's later on. It would be amazing if the Tigers are a 90-win team in 4 years with a hell of a pitching staff, half of it homegrown, and all of a sudden there's another dude who shows up who's your number 2 dude in the rotation, and you're like, holy crap. And now you've really got it rolling, and now you've got more like that would be amazing. But he's not part of the rebuild. He's part of because if he's part of the rebuild, Al Avila won't be around to see it, or he better not be around to see it. That would be.
I mean, Casey Mize was drafted in the first round, and also, he's 2018. So I mean, maybe 2 to 3 years if everything goes right for him. So I mean, it could be a part of the rebuild, right?
How old is Casey Mize? Hold on, give me some
Old music.
some blended Haw.
Thanks for your patience. We won't be long now.
Okay, so first of all, Casey Mize is 24. He was. I knew he was 3 years in college. Totally different deal than high school. So you're talking. It's a much longer road up. I'm not saying there are occasionally, Alex Rodriguez. There are the occasional young shortstops, position players that get up earlier. But you're looking at least 3 years for Job, and you got to be careful of those arms. Again, he's not part of the rebuild. Nobody is. I don't think.
Then why not take Myers then? There's a bigger case for a left-handed shortstop that could grow.
Right. I'm not arguing.
18.
I would have taken Meyer, although I'll be honest, I had never heard of Marcelo Meyer until last week.
Had no clue.
Right. So here we are with that. That's the other problem with baseball is we don't know who the fuck these guys are until
But the right
somebody
fit
tells us
for the Detroit Tigers was probably a left-handed shortstop that a lot of scouts said should be the number 1 overall player taken in the draft. It's a little different. I understand we have to wait to find out, but.
And if you're signing somebody, you might be signing them on a 3 or 4 year deal anyway, and it'd be 3 or 4 years before this guy's there, and you can always move position. It shouldn't affect that. This is go time for the Tigers, though. I know they had a rough last series and all that, and there's some. We'll get into that with some of your hot takes a little later. But all right, I'm gonna. What is your second hot take?
Well, it's been a little while since this tournament happened, but this was kind of chapping my ass since we took a little vacation. Phil Mickelson at the Rocket Mortgage Classic, Graham, was being an absolute fucking baby about a Detroit news story about his gambling exploits, which, by the way, a gambling story that made him look good. We don't have many of those as gamblers, Graham. When you take someone down for $500,000, they can't pay you. I don't see that as being a bad story. And oh, by the way, Phil, we know you gamble. We know the Billy Walters story. If you look and put Phil Mickelson and gambling in Google search, you're going to find a lot of shit. And the reason that he's threatening to never come back to Detroit, I don't give a shit. And the petition, the 50,000 votes, and the Justin Rose fanboy bullshit, and we got 14,000 signatures to bring Phil back. I could give a shit if Phil Mickelson ever comes back. It was a great story, him winning the PGA Championship and all that bullshit, or the U.S. Open, whatever he won. But I just thought him threatening the city of Detroit to not come back because the Detroit News wrote an article, which from what I read the article, there was some new stuff in the article. Was it timing? Was the timing not the best? Yeah, maybe not. But was it that damaging to Phil Mickelson? And by the way, if Phil Mickelson didn't even mention it, I don't know if anybody would have brought it up. Maybe there a question or two in the post-round presser or something like that. But I just felt Phil Mickelson kind of ruined his reputation to me. I know if people love Phil Mickelson all across, and I still do, but I just thought it was a dick move for him to try to force Detroit to get 50,000 signatures and all that bullshit.
So here's my take on that. A couple things. One, was it necessary journalism? No, right? It's journalists being journalists to be journalists, right?
It was an interesting story.
It was not uninteresting, and it was not unnewsworthy. And frankly, I know the sports editor of the Detroit News well, and he is. You don't want to fuck with him. Put it that way. He's the dude who is he was at Yahoo Sports and they took down Miami football. Like he was the head of that crew. You know what I mean? Like he's a journalist of all journalists. He's the guy who walked away the last time he was at the Detroit News when they tried to hire Rob Parker as a columnist instead of Pat Forty, and he just said, "I'm out." And anyway. As well he should have, though. But I don't see the problem running that story. Again, gambling, quit thinking of it like a vice. But the other thing is, you haven't arrived as a tournament, and I've had people argue with me about whether this is a second-tier or third-tier PGA event. I have trouble getting into it because I don't really care where it is. I don't affiliate myself with Detroit. Like, it's not a big tournament. And when a guy can threaten not to come back, like it's an appearance fee, like, it's a big deal that I'm here, right? You're not really a tournament that matters. You're just not.
I mean, if they ran an article about his insider trading where he had to pay $1 million back and sell Billy Waters and other Waters so he could avoid jail time, I could understand him being mad about that. But where a gambler or a bookie, wannabe bookie, sounds like a worse bookie than I was, by the way. But just owing you $500,000 and them running a story on it shouldn't keep you from threatening people. I mean, have some thicker skin, Phil. It's ridiculous.
I'm with you. Look. I was wondering if you were going to come back with this one because I did think it was a little.
I know, and people were all hammering the Detroit News. I'm like, what do you expect from these papers? It's an industry that's dying. Sorry, no offense, but people want to read it, and it was a great, interesting story. I just didn't understand. So 14,000 petition votes?
Yeah, something like that.
Please come back, Philly. Who gives a shit? Never come back. I don't care.
All right. My second hot take. This is MSU football related. Katin Houser.
Yes.
Right?
Theo Day's gone. I got a new guy.
I think MSU fans should be excited that a 4-star Elite 11 quarterback chose them. All right? I think you should. I think that's good. That's better than not, right? I think maybe he's the real deal. But I'm going to give you some guys who had similar profiles to Katin Houser. Ryan Van Dyke, 1998. Keith Nickel, a decade later.
Great wide receiver.
Andrew Maxwell in 2009. Damian Terry in 2013. Brian Lewerke in 2015.
Okay.
Messiah DeWeaver in 2016.
All right.
You know who else was an Elite 11 QB, I believe?
Cockburn.
Rocky Lombardi. You know who wasn't Elite 11 QB, I believe?
Cockburn.
Connor Cook, Kirk Cousins, Brian Hoyer. Look, I hope that Katin Houser's the real deal, and this winds up being a big gift for them. It would be fun to cover. I don't know the kid personally. No issues. A lot's been made of this.
Classic Couch. Build you up and tear you down.
I mean,
and you think it's true that Boise State pulled out in the home and home because of this?
I don't know that. I mean, that has happened before. I don't.
Timing's kind of weird.
Timing's weird. I don't know that it was just that though. I don't know that it was that. I really don't. It could be. It seems. Yeah. I mean, you get Michigan State in your home stadium. You're pulling out on that. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make a lot of sense for what you gain out of that because he wasn't going to be part of those games. That's the other thing. He wasn't going to be the starting quarterback by then, so you're not even playing against the kid. But people loved Hamp Fay. Is maybe not as much as this guy, but he was the big deal last year. There's always a big deal. This rarely works out as expected. I think people need to remember that. And with the transfer portal, the odds that Katin Houser will ever be the quarterback who leads MSU to anything are less than ever. And again, nothing wrong with excitement. And it's fans. Some of us sometimes you don't learn. Some have. Every generation has to do it on its own. There are 24-year-olds on Twitter right now and who are sort of part of the driving force of MSU Twitter recruiting fandom right now that don't really remember fans chanting Damian Terry. They certainly don't remember Keith Nickel and the way that happened. They don't remember the buzz when Ryan Van Dyke took the field for the first time in 1998, like what that was going to be as a freshman. The earliest that Katin Houser will be a factor for MSU is the 2024 season, okay, as a redshirt sophomore. Post Peyton Thorne. Unless you think he'll beat out Peyton Thorne as a senior when he's a redshirt freshman. And if Thorne isn't the guy, Thorne isn't the guy then, it's probably Hamp Fay or Noah Kim, somebody who's older, who's won the job. We collectively, and you fans have made so many other decisions about Mel Tucker's program by then, about other quarterbacks. It is 3 full seasons before Katin Houser is even in the mix. Like, think about that. Think about what you'll think about.
I don't want to think about that.
Okay, again, nothing wrong with excitement, but this ain't Max Christie.
You're a bummer, man.
Different sport, tough position to predict, and what happens isn't even up to the coaches. The coaches brought in Keith Nickel to be the dude. Wound up being Kirk Cousins. They brought in Ryan Van Dyke to be the dude. Wound up being Bill Burke. The guy you bring in, it's not even up to you. It's one of those things you see it on the field. Again, this guy may be different. He may be special. But there is nothing in his pedigree yet that makes him different than a lot of other dudes MSU has had over the last decade or so. And it's getting we don't really learn from that. And it's getting painted that he's the second coming a little bit. There's a lot done on him, and there's nothing wrong with the little buzz. There's nothing wrong with the interest. If this isn't fun, then what the hell is it good for? But I'm just saying, like, let's cover the team the next 3 years. Let's think about the team the next 3 years that's before that he really isn't probably likely going to impact where the program's going.
Can't we just get excited?
No.
Jesus.
I'm saying you can't
No
get excited.
fun.
Yeah, apologize.
No fun couch.
No getting excited. All right, what is your third hot take?
Well, I did mention at the beginning of the show that I had to sit with a scared Xanaxed out dog over the 4th of July. And my question is, there was a lot of sketchy weather that we had in our 2-week hiatus, Graham. That means there's the National Weather Alert System, which I don't understand in 2021 why we have to have something that comes on our television screen like this. In 2021. Right. Yeah, you see it's blowing your headphones out. Why do we have that? Now, by the way, they tell you when you're watching a dog that is scared of fireworks or loud noises to turn up the TV or some radios or something like that. So what did I do? I had the TV all the way up, and then so now the dog is really flipping out. National Weather Service, please, in 2021, why does it have to have the beeps and the thing like you're like a dial-up, like it's AOL dial-up or something like that? It's 2021. Let's get this shit together here.
So I'm with you, and I think we're talking about, and the vacation was so long, I think we're talking about that day that was like the Saturday right after vacation, right? Or it started?
I don't know. But there was like every 15, and we're out in Ovid, so we get a lot of the tornado warnings.
All right. And our friend Chris Eastlick, who's the WNEM TV5 wake-up meteorologist in Saginaw, Flint.
Fix this, Chris.
Well, yeah, this is to you guys. Like, when you come out, this was a big enough storm. There was a tornado that touched down in South Lansing.
Yeah.
It was a big enough storm. You should have broken in to the Euros. I mean, nowadays I can just go to the app of whatever channel it's on and watch instead. But I don't want to say there's glee from the media. Like right away, and here in Lansing on Channel 6, they're like, this is going to be a little long break-in. And you're like,
they had 3 dudes.
It's like, we're in stoppage time, asshole.
David Young was impressive that night, man. I was watching his whole thing. It was impressive.
And they were great. They were really good at what they do. But there should at least be, and I understand they're also on multiple channels here. I think they were on the golf preempted on Channel 6, and they were also covering WLAJ, which had the soccer. Yeah. But at least apologize. At least come on and say, hey, I get it. I'm really sorry if you're watching the golf or the soccer. We've got to do this. It's a public service, and we'd all get it. But there's a little too much. Screw your show. Here we go. And right. I don't. That just it's the tone, man. It's
especially
the tone.
With sports. I mean, I understand people freak out when Jeopardy isn't on and shit like that. But man, if it's a sporting event that you had money on, like I had money on that golf tournament. I mean, but there was some severe weather, so I was okay with it. But absolutely. When it's not, and you're just going on, and there's not severe weather, No, the guy. And what's worse, by the way, watching weather coverage or soccer?
Well, the guy on Channel 10, props to him. Like at one point, he's like, there's a tornado touching down. It's in South Lansing it's over our studio, pretty much. God, that's not good.
I remember David Young was sitting there. He goes, control room. I'm gonna let you guys know if it's gonna touch down. We go to the basement. I'm just like, this dude's just on fire.
Yeah, no, they were great. They're very good at what they do.
But anyway, they are good at what they do. The emergency alert system is complete ass.
Okay,
you got to fix it.
Okay, what sound would your dog prefer?
Just silence.
Okay.
Maybe kind of like a buzzing sound.
So if you don't hear anything, go to the basement.
I can't really talk to my dog. I haven't asked her what kind of sound she likes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sound of treats or something. I don't know.
All right. Number 3. I used to not consider the Pistons passing on Devin Booker in 2015 when they took Stanley Johnson, like one of Stan Van Gundy's blunders, because like 12 other teams passed on Booker. Jahlil Okafor went number 3. Frank Kaminsky went 9. I mean, the guy everybody wanted the Pistons to take was Justice Winslow, who went 10, I believe, right? So, but then, Jason, I hear this.
When you figured out who you wanted to be as a player and the way you moved in this space, beyond Kobe, who comes to mind?
Rip Hamilton. And I actually got the chance when I broke my nose to have a short conversation with him, and we've talked in the past, but that was my childhood hero. that whole team, honestly. Even playing against the Clippers last series and Big Shot Billups sitting over there on the bench, you know, that's an inspiration for me. Those moments there, even just by looking at Chauncey on the sideline, like, would lock me back in immediately. So there's tons of guys, honestly, but if we're talking one, it's, you know, my Piston guys for sure.
What the fuck?
That hurts, man. And you know that he had to have said that like a meeting, the pre-draft kind of meeting they had.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. You should, in your research on a dude, as you're vetting somebody, that ought to come up. In a town where it's tough to recruit free agents, right? We always talk about, I don't know if they'll come to Detroit. These morons in the NBA want to live in L.A. for whatever reason, even though you don't really live where you are during the season that much. And coaches, you know, this is a guy who clearly would love to have spent his career in Detroit. He was like, he idolized the Pistons. That has to be part of the conversation. Coaches are always talking about wanting dudes to be part of their program or organization. Like Devin Booker's that dude, and he wanted to be a Piston. And I want to see the evaluation that had Stanley Johnson over Booker as a pro prospect and how much it must have been substantial, because what I just heard there is something that you should take into account. And Stanley Johnson's not even in the NBA anymore. It is frustrating. The only thing that makes it better is that Troy Weaver has quickly redirected the organization. Had a great draft last year, great tank last season, number 1 pick now. But this should have been a Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker backcourt. No longer, after hearing that, do you go, well, the Booker thing really, it was like 6 picks later and a lot of guys went. No. That information right there, this should be Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker, then who knows what else. The Pistons ought to be playing right now. They ought to be in this series. Stan Van Gundy, I mean, I know he just got fired, but I think they should make Jeff Van Gundy apologize before he does another broadcast if he thinks his brother is a decent coach. Explain why he thinks his brother's a decent coach.
I think he would do that. Fired after 1 year in New Orleans, by the way.
Good.
But you know, if you're on the other side of that, though, and you think maybe Booker just looked at a Wikipedia page before the interview.
No.
And I know, but you know what I mean? There's other ways you could take that. But, yeah.
Because Booker,
that's a tough swing and a miss.
The more I watch him, and if you watch his legs and his movement, the way he shoots, the way he moves without the ball, he, to me, is like Reggie Miller. The Kobe Bryant thing's overstated. But I think Booker is just in form and style and the type of player he'll be, and that's a really good player, Reggie Miller. Now, will he always hit those clutch shots that Reggie did and be that dude? I don't know. But that's. But
is Booker like a number 1 guy? If you take Chris Paul off this Phoenix Suns team, are they where you know the NBA Finals?
But if you give me Booker and Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just talking about Booker and where his status is in the top 10 in the league. Kind of.
Stanley Johnson's not a top 13 guy in an NBA team. He's not on a team.
I understand that. I'm not arguing the Pistons, Phoenix Suns. I was more talking Devin Booker and people talking about how great he is, possibly the top 10 player.
Totally. He's not yet done that. There's not the consistency yet of not, you know, and he's playing. I know he's not playing 100% right now and all that stuff. But like, and even if he wins a title, Chris Paul is a big part of that,
right?
And yeah, no, I don't think he's there yet. But he's a perennial all-star at this point, and that would be pretty dang good. So again, when I heard that, it just absolutely set me off. All right, when we come back, some great hot takes from you guys from the last 2 weeks. Looking forward to these next few segments. We on the radio here.
You want me to cut you off?
Because I suck at this? We'll be right back. Couch in the Roof, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis.
A little rusty. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Skymint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Skymint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Skymint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Skymint Cannabis. You'll love this place. Come enjoy irresistible, award-winning, handcrafted donuts and locally roasted coffee at Groovy Donuts. Surprise your family or coworkers with special holiday designs and flavors, or put the perfect finishing touch on an event with a custom order. Birthdays, weddings, gender reveals, our friends at Groovy Donuts are your answer. Experience the Groovy Donuts difference for yourself on Lake Lansing Road in East Lansing or in Williamston. Get more information or place an order at groovydonuts.com. Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen, Bar, or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. 2 amazing places with 1 awesome blended modern American-Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing.
Find Couch and the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite, Podcast Addict.
All right, Couch and the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, with 3 locations in the greater Lansing area, including on South Cedar, which is where I went on Saturday. Just great vibe, really helpful staff, and lots of options. They'll talk you through what you're looking for, whether it's pre-rolls, gummies, whatever it is, and or even the Michael Jordan of weed over here, Jason, can be helped by the friendly folks at Skymint.
Did you tell him that you were going to wear your shirt today on the show?
I didn't.
When you went to Skymint over the weekend.
You know what? And I
should have wore it to Skymint.
I've not lost weight, but it fits better than it did when they originally gave it to me. I'm not sure what happened. I was just going to
say, it looks like you lost weight over the 2 weeks.
I definitely didn't.
Oh.
Most definitely did not lose. I'd like to say I did, but it fits better for some reason. So maybe I don't know.
Maybe you did.
Yeah, I'll stick by that instead of what the actual scale says. All right, let's dig into these listener hot takes.
Eric Schultz up first. Number 1, any sport that decides a championship on penalty kicks is stupid. 2, Couch and the Rube, live at Big Ten Media Days, will kick off the return to 5 episodes per week, please. 3, Couch will surprise all of us with a legitimate story worth telling from his 2 weeks away.
I don't know if
you guys aren't helping Graham try to get it over his terrible story shit. But.
Yeah, I don't know that I have a great one. I did have a moment. I called my wife out on a moment in front of.
Please tell me Skymint was involved.
No, but
get you out of that.
I can't remember if it was in front of her mom or in front of her friends, but it was like, this is why I can't tell stories. Like she got up and left in the middle of one. And I was like, this is where the confidence is gone. Like I can't do it. And she
there really is nothing worse than if someone just gets up and walks out.
Yeah,
unless they have to shit their pants or something. But that's
rough.
Beautiful.
It was rough. So I guess that's a story worth telling. Presented by our friends at Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington Avenue. Again, a fantastic place. I on a rainy day like this, I think it's one of the cooler, coziest places to have a great meal, great drink, chill with friends right in downtown Lansing. I'll be there early this week with Matt Mancarini, who's back in town from the Journal. Looking forward to hanging out at our old stomping ground, Midtown Brewing Company. And 20% off on Mondays, 20% off your tab. 2, Eric's hot takes here. We're not going to go back to 5 days a week. I don't think that'll ever. I never say never, but it's not in the cards right now. We can't even do 3 good shows a week.
Right.
So
I think you'd rather have 3.
Yeah.
3 decent shows instead of just the thinned out bullshit shows.
Do you remember what 5 sounded like?
No.
That was pretty awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Maybe we should just do one day. Maybe that's just like our best. We pick our best day.
Just go down to one.
Just go down to one.
We'll do 5 hours.
No, let's do a 2-hour one.
Okay. Any sport. Let's go with this one. Any sport that decides championships on penalty kicks is stupid. This is what happens yesterday, and they do that throughout the knockout rounds. England, Italy, they play 90 minutes, then they play 2 15-minute overtimes, and if it's still not decided, they go to penalty kicks. I don't know how else you will decide it in soccer, though. You can't just play till people drop dead. Like, eventually these guys, it takes away the integrity of the sport, too. People are just so exhausted out there. And the thing about penalty kicks is at least it creates, there's a lot of pressure. You can see it in these guys. It's a real skill. You have to have good goalkeeping. You have to have somebody who can perform in the moment. Is it The problem is all these teams at the end are pretty even, and so it's hard to decide it. And I don't think there's a better way to do penalty kicks, and maybe that makes soccer stupid to you, but I don't think there's a better way to do it.
All right. Did you miss Dominic's?
No.
Well, there's not 3 on here.
Oh no,
you fucked this up. You want me to skip it and go to John?
No, give me some Hoff because that's not cool. Dominic would not.
Thanks for your patience. We won't be long now.
God, how does that happen? That's not good. Apologies to Dominic.
Sure you want 5 days a week of this?
Yeah, this is the show. This is what everybody wants. Okay. Oh, I see what happened. Yeah, his came in weird. Sometimes Twitter is not a refined machine.
Thanks for holding.
To say the least. So I'm gonna go ahead and resend these to you, Jason. Just Dominic's, and then you can read those, and we can continue this badass show. Boy, that was real near. I hope I didn't do that with anybody else. This is the best show ever.
It is.
All right, hold on one second. What was your favorite part of the show?
Thanks for your patience.
When I resent Dominic's Twitter
now.
questions. These are the lengths we go through though. We don't.
I know we could have just skipped it though and did it maybe next hour, but
yeah, we could have. But that would have been disappointing. Yeah. Instead of this is better.
Yeah.
Okay, I just sent it.
Okay.
So you should have them, and then we can read Dominic's.
I know. I'm waiting.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It says message
Thanks
sent.
for holding.
I understand that.
How we doing? Hopefully these are good.
There it is. All right, here we go. Dominic up next. Number 1, you don't get 2-week breaks in succession anymore. You'll just have to split them up. I had to fucking listen to Mark Paul Gosselaar's podcast, Zach to the Future, and god damn it, it was pretty fucking decent. Seriously, though, 2 weeks is too much. 2, Al Avila is the most intellectually overwhelmed GM in the history of sports, and I want none of the tempered Graham, let's reevaluate this in 5 years because we don't know BS. He's fucking AIDS. You really passed in the best available player at a position of need? AIDS. 3, if you're going to change my return flight to a time that doesn't work for me, then you need to have some type of customer support available in a timely fashion. Still on hold with Delta for 4.5 hours and counting. Fuck you, Delta. Fuck you.
That's brutal.
Delta's always good.
They are usually better than that. I'm a big customer service guy. That's why I make it as part of my pitch when I try and get people to subscribe to the LSJ. And I know our customer service is not great. I mean, you call Bangladesh or Bumblefuck or somewhere, and I don't know where it is, or you can just get a hold of me, and I'll take care of that. Appreciate you missing us being away. I didn't know Mark Paul Gosselaar had a podcast, Zach to the Future, and goddamn it, so I'll probably
everyone does.
I'll probably listen to that.
I think everybody has a podcast.
Yeah, I'll probably listen to that. And I'm with you on Al Avila. This is not, let's reevaluate in 5 years. As I mentioned, this is not part of the rebuild. This draft is not part of the rebuild. It's go time. This offseason is a huge step in the rebuild. They ought to be an above 500 competitive team next year. This is the year you get Maglio and Pudge. And I don't mind if they trade this year, if they move Scope or somebody they're not going to bring back, but this is not the rebuild. These draft picks were light years away.
Next from John, hot take. Caden Hauser is good enough right now in high school to beat Michigan this season.
There's a Caden. I mean, that is the tone, though, of some of the Caden Hauser hype.
Mm-hmm.
I think yeah.
And then Graham wants to depress you with Messiah DeWeaver.
Not saying he won't be good. I'm just saying the
2 weeks we just got back.
The evidence is
hold your horses on Caden Hauser. Don't be happy about anything yet, Column.
Look, I'm just saying don't.
Just let us have some excitement.
I would say this. If somebody writes or tweets something about Caden Hauser, who's like 27 years old or under, take it with a grain of salt. We've all been, look, the first time I went through a few recruiting cycles, I mean, there are people when I was covering Western Michigan, when I lived in Kalamazoo, by the way.
I've heard that.
Hyped as like the next Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Because you're 25 and some coach told you something, you kind of believe it. And you need a few cycles to realize, They never get a defensive end in mid-major football. That never happens. They keep saying they have an edge guy, but there's no such thing as an edge guy in mid. You have to actually see the cycles play out a few times. So anybody under 30, take their recruiting advice or their recruiting takes with a grain of salt.
Gavin Haas up next. Number 1, the Tigers had a wide-open 3 when it came to drafting Marcelo Meyer. Too bad Alavila is Ben fucking Simmons in this situation. 2, Kate Hauser leads MSU to multiple 10-win seasons. And 3 days with extended family is perfect any longer, and it has you wanting to do what Plexico Burris did, but to the head.
I mean, first of all, I think
that's why I question whether or not Gavin is 15.
These are too good. I couldn't have written this at 15.
Right. And the Plexico Burris
good
mention
reference.
is kind of, it's like he was, 4 months old when that happened?
He was not born. Oh, when Burris shot himself? Yeah. He was real little. That's a really good
womb.
Yeah. But
that's really nice what you say about your family, extended family.
I think his dad listens sometimes too.
It's extended family.
Yeah.
I'm sure he likes his dad.
Yeah, and Gavin, if he's 15, he hasn't seen a lot of recruiting busts and other things. So
just wear Plaxico Burris' sweatpants on your head next time.
What is the extended family? You've done a lot of extended family things, and be careful here because Therese listens.
Mm-hmm.
But what is the appropriate amount of time for an extended family vacation or trip?
4 days.
Wow, that's a long time. Wow,
yeah.
You like them that much?
Yeah, I love her family. Her family is absolutely great. But sometimes in the Wisconsin situation, if everyone comes, there's not enough room. So that kind of gets sketchy. But if we go down there, everybody has their house. Yeah, 4 days.
Okay.
Easy.
All right.
Next from Ryan Allen, MSU Hoops recruiting is in trouble. They went from having the best recruit in class potentially in 2022 and now looking like they won't land any of their top 5 targets. 2, Joby will be better than Mize. 3, and last, we can start betting against the Tigers again.
So, yeah.
Buenos tardes. It is time for the Detroit Tigers Gambling Update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Nick.
There is something to watch with these Tigers. First of all,
they play the Twins 27 straight games in a row.
The Twins are not good either, but there are certain guys who hit them well on that team.
Nelson Cruz.
What is going to be interesting to watch is, does anybody move it? Like, to me, this team is a Jonathan Scope trade away from the wheels falling off the lineup. You know what I mean? Like, they can't afford
bullpen is complete ass.
That too, especially with some of the injuries they have there. It's a hard team to bet against, though. You have to get more and more detailed. Like, use the first 5 inning bets. Okay, Mize is pitching. Don't bet the game. Bet the first 5 innings. You know, the problem with Mize now is you don't know whether he's going to pitch 3 innings or 5. And so they're becoming a hard team to bet against or for, because you don't want to bet against Mize if he might go 7. But if he's only going 3, hell yeah, you want to bet against the Tigers. Like, you know what I mean?
And the Tigers can score runs.
Yes.
Right?
They screw the under all over. Yeah. I think there's something
tough to bet.
I think there's something. It's definitely worth watching. We'll get to a point. I want to go to his Ryan's first one here. The MSU Hoops recruiting is in trouble. They went from having the best recruit, and we're talking about the Enoch Boyake and, I can't pronounce that right now that he's not going to be a Michigan State Spartan, and Amani Bates, 2022, and now aren't landing a lot of their guys. A couple things. One, the core of the next run came on campus this year, right? Look at the 2000. We talk about the group that came in 2008 with, or 7-8 with Kalen Lucas and Darrell Summers, Chris Allen joining that group. Like, do you remember the class the year after that? It was Draymond maybe, and he wound up being really good. What I mean is this is the core class. I'm not saying it's great they're missing out on guys. They'd love to land some of these dudes, but this was a big deal. I think this is a multi-year class. The other thing Michigan State's going to have the ability to do is more Tyson Walkers. And maybe coming from high majors in this transfer world. Michigan State is going to be a destination point for transfers for a long time. And so the same way I was sort of tempering the Kate Hauser talk, I'm going to take the other side a little bit on the MSU Hoops recruiting in trouble. Every time we have said that in recent years, look, missing out on all the Chicago kids. Look this, they got settled for Tum Tum and that crew. What happens? They get Cassius, Miles Bridges, Joshua Langford, Nick Ward. Like, there's too much of a track record of them being relevant and back and recovering and recruiting after a ho-hum class, and almost every year being in the hunt. They weren't last year. But most years they won 3 straight Big Ten titles, and before that they went to before that they had that freshman year with those guys. Okay, 1 year. Then they have the year with Denzel Valentine's senior year. The year before that in Final Four. Year before that, they should have won a national title. Like, how many years have they not been relevant, even when they've had a hiccup in recruiting here or there? I just, at this point, there's so much proven with MSU basketball, and I do think the recruiting component with the transfer portal is going to be widely as successful as MSU wants it to be. Now, you don't want to overdo it there, but they want to add a really nice piece. People are going to want to play for MSU. Guys are going to want to win who have been proven in college basketball. I just don't see it as an issue yet.
Professor is up next. Number 1, Mel Tucker has the best sunglasses and a stogie photos out there. 2, the Tigers have been fun, but are about to run out of pitching and will be unwatchable after the All-Star break. 3, Graham has multiple Upper Peninsula arrest warrants after the last 2 weeks, one for stealing a pasty.
It's a pasty.
A pasty?
Yeah, it's a pasty.
Looks like a pasty.
It's a pasty. It's good, though. I would steal a pasty. I like pasties a lot. I like pretending I'm a miner when I eat a pasty.
What does that mean?
That's what they used to take down in the mines with them, because the way you can hold them and eat the pasties.
How do you pretend to be a miner?
I just, in my
you
head.
have like coal on your head
No,
or
I
something?
just make believe that I'm a miner. I just
How do you make
myself.
believe?
I
Like, you just close your eyes
yes,
and you think you're in a mine?
Yes, that's it. That's it. And a UP mine back in the day. That's my
Boy, you need a lot of Skyman, huh?
Yeah, well, then sometimes
Jesus.
the Skyman helps me get there, you know? You know how many
I'm a coal miner.
You know how many pasties I can eat when I've had some Skyman? Like
Dude,
6
that's
or
got to
7.
be Wednesday's show. I'll get the pasties. Bring the Skyman.
Oh man, it's a lot of sodium, but I think I can. I think I can
It's
handle
a half hour of Graham in the corner thinking he's a coal miner.
To Professor's number 2, the Tigers have been unwatchable, or have been fun, but they're about to be unwatchable after the All-Star break and run out of pitching. That's good. We just need consistency. We can't bet for them or against them right now. We just need them to pick a lane.
It's a lot more fun betting, obviously, for the Tigers. But yes, if they can go on a little run against the Twins here. I don't know. How long do we wait? Another 2 weeks before we find out where this team is actually at after the All-Star break?
Yeah, I kind of want to see where they've done enough that I don't want to just jump off them. I want to see what happens at the trade deadline, too, whether they move guys, whether they break this up a little bit.
The Banks up next. Number 1, the whole Branson to space thing was underwhelming. Barely touched space for a few minutes. No thanks. Wake me up when I can orbit for a few hours. 2, Wilcher to MSU after being a Michigan alum is nuts. Would love his unfiltered thoughts on his this career move. Big for MSU. 3, I'm still way too dumb and lazy to prefer using a QR code at a restaurant compared to talking to a server. I'm sure the server's excited about that.
The Thomas Wilcher hire from Caz Tech is it Curtis Blackwell, a redux of that, hopefully without the scandal? Yeah, I mean, that's what it is, right? You're trying to, somebody who's influential with Detroit kids, and you're looking to recruit that area and make a dent. And the fact that he's a Michigan guy makes it interesting. I have not seen yet his salary, but it's a smart hire. You're trying to recruit everywhere. They're if you look at the recruiting class they've got a number of Georgia kids. They've got kids all over the place. But you also want to win Michigan. You also want to win Detroit. And this is a move toward doing that. I think it was a great hire. Look, the Blackwell hire didn't work out because of what transpired. But that was a great hire at the time too. And I think this was a big move for Michigan State.
All right, Vanzy up next. Number 1, MSU hit a home run hiring Thomas Wilcher, even if they can't sign a Caz Tech kid for a year. 2, the Major League Baseball draft is completely broken with all their under-slot and money-driven deals. And 3, the Tigers missed by passing on a shortstop for another high school arm. No up-the-middle prospects.
I am a little concerned that, and I know they have, a couple dudes who look like they're really close to being big leaguers in the minor leagues right now who are position players and are kind of exciting. But what should be the standard for like the hit rate on these pitching prospects? Should 50% of their top picks have to hit who are
I don't
pitchers?
know. That would be a question for a scout. I would think it would be under that, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I mean, on these guys succeeding or making the team, what are you trying to go for?
Yeah, I think the problem is with Mayer is if Mayer turns out to be a stud, the Red Sox took him, of course. Like if he winds up being like a Hall of Fame shortstop for the Red Sox,
right?
And
and Vila did it because of the slot kind of thing, this protection that he wanted to do,
the money of it, and or you know, or the
if
Tigers,
the money got in the way, if Illich had his hand in this and money was involved, fucking sell the team. That's crazy.
And the problem, again, like if this is Seth Greisinger is the guy that they just drafted, you know, that just doesn't work. I mean, I understand there's risk, and okay, if there's injuries that come up later, but there needs to be evidence that he's great in the minor leagues too. There needs to be evidence. If he breaks down physically, you can't predict that, and I think that happens with a lot of pitchers. But if this Mayer dude's the real deal, again, when everybody's telling you this is the best guy and your scouts tell you, I'm not saying you shouldn't trust your scouts and your gut, but, man, the Tigers have not earned that right. So.
And Lynn Henning said that Alan Trammell, who lives in San Diego, watched Mayer for a period of time. And he told him to take Job. So, yeah, I mean, if these guys both turn out, I mean, so be it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if it came down to money, that's what pisses me off.
Yeah. And again, I had not heard of any of these guys until about a week ago. So
last night,
it's hard to really criticize a whole lot. Many more really good hot takes coming up from you guys. Lucas coming up next. Andy Welch, maybe Meebe. Boy, how'd she sneak into the second hour? She's always the first hour. Kurt Wisniewski, John Krager, MSC Smokestack, Spartan 18770, Stephen DeVitri, John, Craig Robinson, Ken Choose, Spartan Johnny, Jimmy, Andrew Gauthier, Eric Ziegler, so on and so forth. Couch in the Rue, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis.
Hello, this is Mary Stucco with Education Unfiltered. Education is so important, and it doesn't mean you have to have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or a PhD. It's really about what is best for you and what you need to take, whether it's a certificate or studying something in the trades or you need an associate's degree to further develop yourself. There's a great opening for people at all ages and at all stages of life who are looking to go back into education and redevelop themselves. Check out my latest podcast with Central Michigan University's Actuarial Science Program. Like and subscribe to Spotlight Podcasts on our YouTube and Facebook pages and watch all my episodes, or you can listen in on your favorite podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Play by simply searching Education Unfiltered. This is Mary Stucco. See you soon with more conversation on Education Unfiltered.
When it's your moment, that once-in-a-lifetime moment, you don't just want jewelry. You can get that anywhere. You want a memory that will go down in history, your moment. We're Medawar, crafted with exquisite style, quality, and love, so your present will be stunning every time you look at it, every time someone notices it, and they will notice. We've devoted our lives to this art, and we're proud to share it with you. The gift you want to give is here.
Medawar Jewelers in Lansing, Okemos, Jackson, Portage, and Brighton.
Live across the Great Lakes State, you're connected to Michigan's most engaging and influential radio and television program, Michigan's Big Show, starring Michael Patrick Shields.
Great to be with you, Michael Patrick. You're the show I would want to be on. Forget those other ones.
Michael Patrick, it's always a pleasure to be on the air with the King of the Airwaves. Thanks for having me on again.
That's a very good question.
Those are all great questions. Good morning.
Thank you. Michigan's Michael Patrick Shields.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. The death toll in the Florida condo collapse continues to increase. Sarah Bartlett has the latest.
Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava.
The number of confirmed deaths is now 94.
She says 22 people remain unaccounted for and added that the process of identifying victims is becoming more difficult as the search continues. Human remains are being found, and that means officials are having to rely on the medical examiner.
Federal health officials are expected to meet with Pfizer today to discuss its COVID vaccine vaccine booster. Meantime, Dr. Anthony Fauci says the shot isn't needed right now, but he told CNN maybe in the future. President Biden's top medical advisor also appeared on TV yesterday, saying many people will likely have to wait until the vaccines get full approval. The top military commander in Afghanistan is stepping down from his post today. Army General Austin Scott Miller has led the nation's involvement in Afghanistan for nearly 3 years. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
Michael Patrick Shields here with Matt Rhodes at Dusty's Cellar. 2020's gone. There's some things I won't miss, but there sure are some things here I want to hold on to.
Yeah, as unusual as 2020 was, there'll be one constant for 2021, and that our 6 for 60 wine club is going strong and will continue to do so for the upcoming year.
I know you added some options, the Pinot Grigio, the Rosé, Parducci, and all the reds and whites and mixed. Going to do the same this year?
Absolutely. We'll carry on with all the variations of the club we offered this past year, and we'll be looking for more creative new club ideas as the year goes on.
I do like those top shelf, top 100 selections. You have over 100 wines offered at $15 or less, but they're all highly rated by a wine publication. Will you keep that up?
Absolutely. 100 wines, red, white, rosé, dry, sweet, whatever your taste, we'll have a wine for you at $15 or less, a highly rated wine, a great value.
Cheers, and you can join me in the Dusty's Cellar 6 for 60 Wine Club. Just pop on dustycellar.com and have a look, or go on into the store on Grand River in Okemos, just a little east of the Meridian Mall.
Cheers, Michael.
I'm Tony Cuthbert with your Spotlight Sports Update. The Tigers lost to the Twins 12-9 in 10 innings in Minneapolis. That loss completed a 4-game sweep for Minnesota as Akil Baddoo had 3 RBI and a solo homer, and Jake Rogers hit a grand slam. Willie Peralta gave up 1 run in 5 innings for the Tigers. Detroit hosts Minnesota in a 4-game series after the All-Star break. The Tigers selected pitcher Jackson Jobe with the 3rd overall pick in the MLB draft. Jobe is a high schooler from Heritage Hall High School in Oklahoma. Detroit also picked Texas pitcher Ty Madden in the competitive balance round of the draft. And the Bucks blasted the Suns 120-100 in Game 3 in Milwaukee. Giannis Antetokounmpo posted 41 points and 13 boards to lead the Bucks, who now trailed 2-0 in the best-of-7 set. Chris Paul led the Suns with 19. Game 4 is Wednesday.
What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Room.
All right, we begin hour 2 of Couch and the Room, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis, inspiring people to do better, be better, feel better, live better, including my mother-in-law, every damn day of their lives. I'm picturing her right now with my stepfather-in-law just stoned out of their mind on the couch, living the best life.
Because she didn't take it in front of you.
No, we didn't.
Was that because
they had to drive home still?
Was she driving?
I don't know.
I was about to say, that's the best time to take him.
I can't remember. If
we come back from Illinois, I'm like, Treese, you're driving back.
Yeah, I can't remember how much my father-in-law was drinking while they was hanging out, whether she was going to have to drive, because sometimes that's
just a crapshoot.
Yeah, sometimes that you never know. But nonetheless, very pleased to. I'll slowly get my wife into it. She's not there yet, but we'll glad to bring the whole family into the Skymint experience. Remember, skymint.com for location information and daily specials. Lots of cool stuff going on there. And locations in Greater Lansing, 3 of them, and throughout the state. Use the promo code CouchandRube20 for 20% off your purchase. All right, let's dig back into these hot takes.
Lucas is up next. Number 1, burning through Sopranos, and holy hell, what a show. Rest in peace, James Gandolfini. 2, Katon Hauser is going to make it hard for every other quarterback in 2022 and beyond. 3, glad to have you guys back, and I appreciate both of you. Bonus take, fuck Alavila.
You could tell when some of the takes came in, and then the Tigers draft happened, and people chimed in with like these bonuses.
Had to tag it.
Yeah, wait a second. No, that's not going to. We appreciate you, Lucas. The Sopranos, were you a big Sopranos guy?
Oh, yeah, big time. Back when we had to watch it on Sundays.
Right.
And then wait till a Sunday.
There was something fun about that in certain ways. Like
it was great.
There's part of me that loves, like, I can't wait for Ted Lasso to drop, right? And we'll binge watch it, and it'll take 2 days. But then it's gone.
Yeah.
Like even The Last Dance a year ago when we were all, early days of the pandemic, and I was glad they gave us 2 hours a night, but it was over 5 weeks. That was fun. You waited till that was a fun deal, right?
I appreciated that, the way they spaced it out, because I would have watched all 10 hours straight.
Yeah. And it gave you something and then you were able to sort of digest and talk about what we had just seen in smaller. No, I still think there's a place for that. You just have to be a really good show to pull that off.
You have to be a top 5 show of all time, right? Like a Sopranos level show that would get, Game of Thrones, didn't they do that? Didn't they make you wait a week?
And people got in. Yeah, no, it worked.
I would go back to that. I would have no problem with that.
And there are some that still do it. We watch Black Monday. Is that HBO Max or freaking Showtime? It's on Showtime. Black Monday with Don Cheadle, and it's really good.
And you guys do it yourself, or you?
Well, we forget sometimes and watch 2 in a row, but it's on every week.
Because then you have to end it quick because it gives you kind of the preview at the end of the episode you're watching, so you have to jump and grab the remote.
Sort of.
You know what I mean? Because if it gives you the preview, oh my God, I got to see this next episode to see what happens.
And like that Succession, I don't know how they'll drop that. Like we watched it later, so we binge watched it. I like binge watching certain things, but the Caitlin Hauser thing. So 2022 would be his freshman year. If he comes in and wins the starting job his freshman year, then he's as good as everybody says. But let me say this: the people writing that he's a big deal don't know that yet, because he's no different in pedigree than so many other guys who've shown up. If he turns out to be a big deal, that's great, but you weren't right. Nobody's right. Nobody knows.
Why are you taking what people say on Twitter to heart? Let people be excited.
It's not just Twitter. It's the and I'm not saying you shouldn't do stories on these guys. I'm not saying that. Absolutely, it's an interesting prospect. Is the QB prospect in a recruiting class? Absolutely, there should be stories about him every year. Whoever the recruiting. The QB recruit is interesting because they may be the head of the program, so to speak, or the headliner. I'm not saying that's, and I'm not saying he won't be that. I'm just saying it's probably 3 years away if it happens, and the odds are it won't.
Andy Welch up next. Number 1, Al Avila is not the smartest guy in the room. 2, the Detroit News piece on Phil Mickelson and the bookie was a blatantly dumb piece to run in 2021, even if Phil's reaction was childish. 3, Hamp Fay transfers from MSU without getting a single start.
I would bet a lot of money that one of the 2 guys, Hamp Fay or Caitlin Hauser, I'm going to call him Caitlin. We're going to have to get that drop along with Coburn and Cockburn. That one of them doesn't finish.
Why you have to be such a bummer?
Well, because they're one class apart, right? Are they
right?
2?
Okay.
So that's all I'm saying. Like in the quarterback world now, where only one can only play. In the transfer world, where you don't have to sit out, that's going to happen. That's nothing wrong with that. That's going to happen in every program. Rarely are back-to-back quarterbacks in recruiting classes ever going to both finish at that school. That's just not going to happen anymore.
Hey, Graham, I won the Powerball lottery. Oh, the taxes on that.
Let me shit on that.
Oh, yeah, man, you given half.
There were a lot of
all right, man.
They were real big on Hamp.
Excited.
Real big on Hamp Fay a year ago.
Sure.
Where'd that go?
They'll be a fan of whoever.
Yeah.
Hamp Fay, Caton. And by the way, why is it a blatantly dumb piece to run in 2021? The Mickelson bookie thing. I didn't understand that.
Well, it seemed like you just choose now to bring it back up.
Of course, because he's in town, and it got more hits because Mickelson brought it up. I mean, big deal. Maybe me be up next. Number 1, 2 weeks off, and the takes are going to be the same as if the show hadn't gone on hiatus. July is hard, and so is the word hiatus. 2, Grease is a terrible movie. The premise and subplots are gross.
I wonder how long Michelle's been holding on to that.
3, the Olympics are just what the U.S. needs, a benign way to express nationalism at home.
You a fan of the movie Grease?
No, I've seen it.
Yeah,
saw it once, and that was enough.
It's okay. Right? It's not great. Even for a guy who loves musicals and dance numbers, it's not that. This is the first Olympic ones we've had. Are you excited about these Olympics?
No.
Right.
No. I mean, the basketball team lost to Nigeria. I know it was an exhibition. They're banning people because they smoked weed. I think can't run because you smoke weed. I don't know. Maybe if there's nothing else on and there's a story, if a story builds out of that, I will watch some of it.
I think part of it for me is that more than other sports, when we kind of accepted early in the pandemic, just give us a sport we understand there can't be fans. The Olympics without the atmosphere seem less to me. It seems like this got to get this in because the IOC needs to make the $75 million or whatever it is off the television rights. Probably more than that. I have no idea what it is. I thought it was something like that. But
let's say that sounds light.
Yep. And whatever it is, maybe it's 75%. I saw a number with the word 75, right?
Add a zero on that.
Yeah, whatever it is. But usually I enjoy the heck out of the Olympics. Usually I love the track and field, like the swimming, obviously like the basketball, getting to whatever good story is. And I like sports being on middle of the day, throughout the day, just like I did with the Euros and the soccer. I love all that stuff. I'm just not into it yet. I'm hoping it happens when it actually arrives. And yeah, it is true that it is a benign way for the U.S. to express nationalism, which is something we could use where we're all on the same page.
John Krager up next. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Kirk Wisniewski, sorry. Number 1, cannot wait to see Caton Hauser or Theo Day on Spartan Saturdays. How dare you, Kurt? 2, fire Avila now, drafting a high school pitcher over Kumar Rocker. So much for my 500 by the All-Star break hot take. And 3, football season cannot come soon enough. Go green.
So are you yet like football season antsy, looking forward to it? Or no?
Absolutely. Last night I had the guide on and went past the NFL Network and it said Sunday Night Football on it. I was like, oh man,
yeah,
that's going to be great.
No,
my Sundays are my favorite.
I was starting to try and put together like a fall schedule, just sort of like my days, like what I'm going to try and get done when. This is boring to tell people, but nonetheless, part of it involved being able to get enough sleep to play basketball with my crew that plays at 6 in the morning on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Mm-hmm.
The problem I ran into right away, I was like, yeah, that Monday game, that's not Sunday Night Football. Like, I'm not going to not watch Sunday Night Football to be in bed by 10. It's not going to happen.
Unless it's like a completely garbage game on Sunday night.
Correct. But
you miss some of those.
But I enjoy Sunday Night Football. It's just fun to hang out and watch that game in the background, whatever you're doing. It's
first NFL season in college football season to have legalized gambling on my phone. Ooh,
it's going to go poorly.
Bye-bye kneecaps. John Krager up next. Number 1, the Tigers bullpen has been an Achilles heel for this organization for the better part of 15 years and counting. 2, that was quite the gamble by Avila drafting a high school pitcher. And 3, Al Avila will be gone after this season. This is a year 7 of a rebuild.
So I guess the rebuild started, and I thought it was more 16, so maybe year 6, but
he's made it this far, and the Illiches probably love him, right?
Well, we're going to find out a lot about not just Avila but Chris Illich this offseason. Like, sure. This is the moment, like, where you if they don't spend this offseason, if they don't start to make moves towards big time winning, because I understood it to some degree last year, as frustrating as it was, where you're like, this team is nowhere near competing, and the year before that, so why the hell would you spend too much money, let these young guys? But now we've seen Casey Mize. You know, we've seen this young pitching staff, and we've seen how close they are with Torkelson and Riley Green. Like, okay, frankly the lineup that's there that's not very impressive is improved, and we've seen the managing and the pitching coach be really good. I mean, we've seen just a lot of things that they have earned the right now to make a move, I think, and so this is the offseason we find out about all that if they're willing to spend. And there should be a couple contracts that are, $20 million a year plus coming in this offseason.
And unless Chris Illich lied to A.J. Hinch, there's no way Hinch takes this job without Illich saying, I'm going to go after, give some money to Avila to get some free agents for you guys.
And
he's not going to take that gig,
and his
right?
contract's only so long. So, if you screw Hinch, which would be dumb because I think he is a really good manager. And I just think they've got a good thing going. And as long as Illich, like,
the Pistons, the Wings, the Tigers, that feels like it's all about to happen.
It feels like it's turning. Yes, it feels like it's turning.
MSC Smokestack up next. Number 1, I tried listening to another MSU-themed podcast while you guys were away. I couldn't make it through 2 minutes. Great to have you guys back. 2, MSU Twitter can be insufferable. Grown men tweeting at a 16-year-old quarterback like he is the second coming. Embarrassing. 3, as much as I want to hammer the over on the Michigan State season win total, and as much as I've rewatched the second quarter of the Penn State game, MSU could be in serious trouble at the quarterback position this season. Feels like we're all just assuming there will be a great improvement at quarterback.
By the way, MSC Smokestack is my burner account. These takes, this is pretty much.
Then what was the podcast?
Spartan Speak. It was the one with me and Solari.
That is a tough one to get through.
Yeah, it's
Solari to never stop talking.
Yeah, no, I don't know who it was, but
I'm kidding, Chris.
Yeah, Yes, I'm with you. Look, I feel the same way you do about the MSU Twitter, and maybe it's just I think you get to a certain point where you've just seen this show a lot, and it doesn't mean that a QB lean. By the way, I appreciate you saying that. It doesn't mean he won't work out, but it just seems like the excitement is a little bit overdone for just given how they usually pan out, given how much intrigue there is about this season, and like there are 15, 16 transfers on that team. That is more interesting how those guys are going to pan out, what this team might be right away. So the over-under on MSU football, some people said 4 early. I've seen it 4.5 now. And it's pretty much even juice with the under. Would you play the over 4.5 with Michigan State football?
Man, I liked it when it was 4. Was it 3.5? Did it open at 3.5? I would still take the over. I think this team has 5 wins in it.
Me too. And here's why. And the big under that I would take, by the way, is Miami, Florida is at 9.5. And that line, the juice is moving a little bit on that. So I like the under. Miami, Florida's got a tough schedule. They usually underachieve. They actually have a pretty tough schedule, and they have a couple ACC matchups that I think are very much toss-ups. But when you look at Michigan State, like Northwestern to me is a toss-up. Northwestern is rarely back-to-back years what they were last year. Michigan State just beat them. Now Northwestern will be motivated to win that game, but I think that's a 50-50 game to open the season. Miami, Florida is probably better than Michigan State this year, but we don't know for sure. And Miami, Florida in a noon game in September, I never trust Miami. Western Kentucky, good mid-major, but a game Michigan State should win. So let's say that's one win. Indiana on the road, we think Indiana is going to be good. Well, so Rutgers on the road, they ought to win that game, right? Nebraska at home, 50-50, toss-up game. So say they get one of the two, Northwestern or Nebraska, that's one win. Western Kentucky, 2, Rutgers, 3, Youngstown State, 4. You're at 4 right there. And now you've got to find one win between Indiana, Michigan, Purdue, Maryland, Ohio State, and Penn State. I think there's a win somewhere. It's probably Purdue. It's probably Maryland. Whatever. It just, to me, I think 4.5 is low, and I think there's a real good opportunity on Michigan State to get above that.
You just ruined a whole segment for Wednesday's show, by the way. Shit, just calling down the whole schedule, man. Spartan 18770 up next. Number 1, the MSU fan base is now all about who the shiny new toy is. Last year, Faye was our savior. Today, Hauser. Tomorrow, 2, soccer is pure ass. Every 2 minutes, play is stopped because the player goes down like he just had his uterus ripped out. Solid hot take. 3, if you get COVID because you choose not to get vaccinated for any other fact than health issues, you should not be allowed to be admitted to a hospital. That is your price for putting your selfishness ahead of society's welfare.
I did see a segment today where, like, a doctor said all the people they're treating who are unvaccinated, which is like all the people who are coming in right now for COVID, you can just see the regret in their eyes, and it's pretty bad. The
doom and gloom show today.
Sorry,
Jesus. Kate Hauser's average.
With you on one.
People are dying. Shit.
So the soccer is pure ass, though. Every 2 minutes a play is stopped because a player goes down. It was worse in Copa America with the Brazilians. The Brazilians are awful at it. I do think there need to be more cards given out and more punishment to guys who look like they're shot and 2 minutes later are fine. I did make a mistake probably with an Italian player who it didn't look like he got bumped very hard. Then he was wailing on the ground, and then he was out 5 minutes later, and he was a key player for them. So the problem is it's the boy who cried wolf, so you can't trust it at this point. I think I would review it in hindsight. Like, you can tell. You're going to have views on that guy's face. You're going to know if he's up 100%, and you got to start next game he misses or at halftime you take a guy out. That needs to start happening for soccer. And the Copa America, it ruined the second half. Was it Argentina? Oh, no, it was Brazil, Peru. I don't know. Brazil, Peru. I don't know. Ruined the game.
Yeah. Stephen DeVitri up next. Just one here. Should we worry about the USA basketball team losing to Nigeria?
I think it's the best thing that happened to them in this sense. That I think Popovich would want that. Like, they'll pay attention now. Like, crap, this isn't just a walkthrough. You know, that sometimes is needed in those situations. I'm not saying it was orchestrated. I do think they've got some issues where they're not as good as in the interior as they might need to be, and Kevin Love was a weird pickup, but I don't think
Graham said they were matchup proof. John up next. Number one, I hope you guys are refreshed from vacation. Big Ten football media days are next week, and they're not going to live tweet themselves. I kid. Graham is a columnist, so we'll have Solari do it. 2, after Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, and Iowa, you can take the remaining teams in the 2 divisions and randomly come up with places 3 to 7. And 3, England really let a good opportunity for a championship slip away Sunday. They blew it, not scoring a second goal when they had Italy reeling early.
Totally agree. First 25 minutes, I thought England, they score in the second minute, should have, and they kept playing well for 25 minutes. In the end of the first half, though, you could tell it was changing with Italy. And then in the beginning of the second half, it changed a ton. Italy made some substitutions. It got even worse. And then they were, just asking to be scored upon, and that was a real screw-up. After Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, Iowa, you can take the remaining games from the 2 divisions, remaining teams, and randomly come up with places 3 to 7. I tried to – somebody had asked me at one point, like the division, who's going to finish where and what. And you start to look at this, too, when you're thinking about over-unders for seasons. It is really – I don't even know that I think Iowa's going to be pretty decent, but I don't know for sure. I like Wisconsin. They got the Mertz quarterback back. I think they're going to be better. Indiana, do we trust Indiana as a program because they had the one big year with a quarterback coming off the ACL tear? Like, I think there are a lot of things you don't entirely trust. And
that's trust Tom Allen and what he's doing there, right?
I do. But there are some plays in the West because of this where one of the things you can do is, and we'll talk about this. Maybe we'll do this Wednesday when we get Harry on. We'll do our parlay, our can't miss parlays. Although it's hard this week with baseball completely off. But we'll do our, we'll do our season
home run competition recap.
No, the what I was thinking is totally blanking on what
celebrity softball game recap.
No, to win the Big Ten, and you can do this in the Big Ten and ACC. Can't do it as easily in the SEC, but can't really because of Georgia. In the ACC and the Big Ten, where Ohio State and Clemson exist, the other division champion is long odds to win the whole conference. But you can hedge there once the game actually happens or if something happens. You want to have some money, a little bit of money that pays a lot on a couple teams in the other division. In the Big Ten, that's the West. That's the way there was huge payouts on Northwestern last year. And look, when you hedge, it's not perfect, and you might as well maybe not hedge at the end because the money line is so bad on Ohio State. But maybe we'll go over that a little bit and who you should take to win these conferences to make a little money.
Craig Robinson up next. Number one, never sub players into a game literally minutes before penalty kicks with the intention of having them take a penalty kick within the first 5 spots. 2, see take number 1 if you're a manager who's historically missed a penalty kick as well. And 3, we need to enjoy international soccer for what it is, quirks or not.
So I sometimes complain about the people falling down and the injuries. People complain about the VAR, which is the replay. I think it's pretty damn good overall. I'm with you. What the Euros were, there are too many. The South Americans are freaking drama. I mean, we need to work on that. But in the Euros, other than the Spaniards and a little bit of the Italians, most people, it's not too much acting. I think it was awesome. And I'm with you. I thought England bringing guys into the game like 3 minutes before penalty kicks who really haven't been in the game. I mean, how exhausted, how much energy you need for a penalty kick. You want guys who've been confident, had lots of touches with the ball the whole day. I thought that was a huge mistake by Southgate.
Did you almost say drama queens and you stopped yourself?
I did.
That's woke. Ken Chu up next. Number 1, the most exciting thing in soccer is trying to guess how much secret time they will add.
It is, because sometimes it's way off.
Especially if you have money on it, like come on.
And you need because the thing that sucks about soccer betting is if the extra time doesn't count. So if you have the money line,
oh my God, it doesn't.
Not if you have the money line. If you have no. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Make soccer even more ass. Yeah. Holy crap, is that real? Spartan Johnny up next. Welcome back, guys. Fuck yeah. Number 1, England is signing a teenager to be their finishing man in penalty kick shootouts is one of those moves that looks good on paper, but wait, no, it doesn't look good on paper either. What the hell were they thinking? 2, Novak finishes his career with 24 major titles, and it's a painful existence for Rafa and a Federer fan. New York crowd still gives Novak a fair amount of shit, so at least we have that. And 3, this is likely the last week of my life as a proud dad to want... See, that was a weird way to read that. This is likely the last week of my life As a proud dad to one little girl, as our second girl is expected any day, would love the Couch and the Rube fam to send positive thoughts into the ether for my wife to deliver the greatest female tennis player to ever live. Thanks in advance.
That's what we will root for. Great. And if you need any help with lessons, I'm happy to assist and do a little one-on-one at a young age. Yeah. Well, good luck, Spartan Johnny, because my friend Scott Powers his wife just had a child. It's like a month old, and that's their second. So he's got a 3.5-year-old and a month old, and it is nothing but he is exhausted like 24/7. Like every day is the same, and it's.
I watch my 2-year-old nephew on Mondays and Thursdays, and that's like for 3 hours, and I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm out of here.
We wish you good luck, and we wish your wife and new daughter good health and hopefully a great tennis career as well. I'm with you on I think Federer is the greatest tennis player of all time. I think Rafa. I think Nadal was a matchup problem for him as much as he was a quality problem for him. And that's why he doesn't have more than Djokovic. And so I still think Federer is the best I've ever seen and over the longest period of time, too. So both peak value and – now, I wasn't around for Borg or Labor or any of that stuff, but both peak value and career value.
Jimmy up next. Number one, international soccer is one of the best sports. Knowing a whole nation, including a queen, are watching every play means more than any city sports team can comprehend. It was a crazy final and disappointing, but so fun to watch. 2, the hype for Katin Hauser has surpassed the hype for Joey Hauser. It is unreal. Let's stop and focus on the 2021 Spartans. Let's get to a bowl game and build from there. 3, Zion Williamson is so big. Welcome back. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Jimmy. Zion
was a big deal because he was a huge guy, and I just broke my chair.
Well played, Jimmy. Again, I'm with you on the Spartans thing. I think this is going to be a fun year, and don't get me wrong. I think most fans can compartmentalize too. I don't think because people are excited about a quarterback that's a couple years away, they're unable to get jazzed for this season. And it's what happens in the middle of the summer. You got nothing else, and it's things. People aren't like Big Ten football media day is next Friday, and the stuff that gets written off that people aren't reading yet. That's why ratings are down in the NBA because July and August, especially July, is the least read, least viewed. It's just a month that people aren't watching television and aren't reading stories as much and aren't as ready for it's the season's still so far off and nothing's really changed since the end of last season. Like I don't want to read the same precursor that came out of the spring and
so drop a Katin Hauser's overrated, and here's why column. Fire people up.
I get some other stuff I'm working on.
Come on, Los.
I don't want to. Yeah, see, that is a thing that I'm not taking to take shots at the kid.
I know.
I mean, because I do think, and I also think there's a difference between, and I'll say this. People say, well, column versus on air. In this digital world, there is a difference between a headline and saying something here. So again, it's not that anything I say here I wouldn't write, but I'm not going to write the column. Katin Hauser as a prospect is ass because that headline's going to follow him around, and that's just stupid, Like I'm going to say that exact thing here, but that's the way you would phrase it, I guess.
Oh, that'd be beautiful. Andrew Gauthier up next. Number one, in every game I've seen end in penalty kicks, one player is always overthinks it and fakes themselves out. 2, Graham needs to go on a Twitter vacation next time he's on vacation. Thought he did. 3, while this was a decent couple of weeks off for y'all to be off, you missed some great July material. Bonus take, I wouldn't send guys who look like they're about to deuce their pants up the penalty spot if I were a coach. Literally every guy who looked nervous in yesterday's Euro final missed or got blocked.
Yeah. I mean, I'm now kind of a little bit with the Spanish coach who didn't do it ahead of time. Like, he looked in guys' eye. Now, Spain didn't get there. They lost some penalty kicks. But he looked in his players' eyes to try and figure out who he wanted to have take the kicks. And, yeah, it's
what are you supposed to say? No?
I was just,
he comes up to you and asks you?
I felt bad. Right away, I knew what was going to happen. The 3 black guys are the guys who missed for England. And right away, just huge racial issues with, I think, was it Twitter or Facebook had to remove like a tons of posts, and soccer fans are so racist.
People take their soccer seriously.
Yeah, it's
a
bad.
Terrible sport.
By the way, and I tried. I mean, I was on vacation, so I wasn't on my phone as much as I usually am. But sometimes you have a little whiskey and you want to tweet.
Eric Ziegler up next. Number 1, the Tour de France is hands down the best event of the summer. I'm not reading the rest of these then. 2, I know people hate it when you can't get better than the Euro ending in penalty kicks. Pure exhilaration, especially having taken Graham's advice and taken Italy to win it a few weeks back. 3, welcome back.
So Eric and I both benefited from, I think it was like 5.5 to 1 odds for them to win it when they were looking really good in the group stage, and both of us cashed in on that, which was a nice little play.
Why didn't you tell Harry?
Yeah, Harry, we're going to have Harry on Wednesday, and I'm hoping by then Harry has won a bet with his daily bets. It's been a rough couple weeks, and I hope you're not betting Harry daily. He's won some bets in other things that he's done with some of his podcasts.
Well, they do so many bets on the Against All Odds with Cousin Sal, so
he's won some of those, and he's been okay, but it's just that daily bet he does with the FanDuel thing that's just gone awry of late.
Spartans Forever up next. Number 1, going to Mississippi is like going to a different country. 2, penny slots are stupid, especially when the minimum you can bet is 40 cents. It's ridiculous. 3, why do you need a prescription for OTC sinus medication in Mississippi? 2 words, meth clinic, sweet Jesus.
I think Spartans Forever went to Mississippi. I think he went to a casino in Mississippi. Just guessing on this.
Different country.
Have you ever been to Mississippi?
I have not, no. Alabama.
I've barely been. I was in South Alabama in Mobile right after Katrina and drove over after the game I was covering the next day to Pascagoula, which is where we got decimated by Katrina, and just to look around, and that's my only trip. But
not help out, just look.
Yeah, I mean it was like 5 months later, I guess. But even then, I felt like a civil rights worker venturing into Mississippi. Like I kept wondering if I was going to get pulled over by a 1960s police car. Like that's when I view Mississippi. That's what I view, and that's why I couldn't recruit fairly in college football, because I would use the civil rights movement to recruit against kids in the Deep South or schools in the Deep South.
Bo McJunkin's up next. Number 1, the Phil Mickelson saga in Detroit went from 0 to nauseating in record time. I was on Phil's side at first for a lame and poorly timed story, but he acted like a child. 2, I'm all for taking COVID precautions, but the NCAA proved its incompetence once again by eliminating NC State from their baseball tournament while packing a stadium with 20,000 plus people. 3, the name, image, and likeness market started hotter than post-Taco Bell dump on day 1. But once companies realize there's no benefit to paying lesser-known or second-string players with 900 Twitter followers, there will be a lot of disappointed players. Bonus take. Al Avila is like a seal trying to outrun a shark. You see a glimmer of hope, but deep down you know he won't make it. Another fucking pitcher 4 to 5 years away. I don't see – if you see a seal, first of all, I don't know if they can run. They waddle. There's no glimmer of hope for a seal getting away from anything.
I've never seen a seal at full speed, I don't think.
I don't know if they have a speed.
Yeah.
It's just a waddle.
The NLI, we haven't really talked about name, image, and likeness market and how quickly, I mean, it was,
Foster Lawyer had a cameo in about 4.5 minutes.
Yeah. Have you already ordered it?
I have not, no.
I am curious to see where this all goes. And
it's not good.
I'm curious to see.
It's going to get weird. The Miami Hurricanes guy who's going to hire everyone for the season pay for their whole season, $250,000. Going to pay them a monthly stipend, $500 a month. Is that going to end well?
No,
it's not.
It's not going to end. It's not going to end well. I don't.
Right.
I don't think.
Are we done with that one?
Yes, we are done with that one.
All right, Boona, Boona, Boona. Next, number 1 from the Vault, July 13th, 2020, before it was cool to appreciate Graham. 2 weeks of vacation will make the first Couch in the Rube episode back an instant classic. Graham Couch, appreciate you. Love Fest. 2, this was a legit exciting sports weekend, especially for July. And 3, Hebrew National hot dogs are by far the best way to eat miscellaneous animal parts.
I hadn't really thought about that.
What do you think hot dogs were?
Yeah, they are
luxury items.
Yeah, they're not great.
Joey Chestnut ate 94 of them.
Yeah, it was a great sports weekend, by the way. There was Wimbledon, there was Euros, there was Copa America, there was the NBA Finals. A lot of stuff going on. It was
John Deere Classic.
There's a lot of stuff going on. And by the way, before when I said it's not going to end well for name, image, and likeness, that was me trying to look something up real quick and just responding to Jason without listening. I don't actually think it won't end well. I think it's going to get weird, as you said.
Chris King up next. Number one, people who complain about Major League Baseball draft picks are the worst. How many high school baseball games have you watched these prospects to have such a strong opinion? I've watched 9 hours of film. 2, vacationing with an almost 2-year-old is a living hell. 3, Noah Kim will be a 3-year starter for MSU, a very live arm.
Let's get the Noah Kim train. I think that's your next Theo Day.
No, dude. Caton Hauser.
You're on Caton Hauser?
I think so. I gotta have just one guy, right?
So vacationing with a 2-year-old, I
no way.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of work, doesn't it? It kind of takes the idea of a vacation away. To me, if you're going to vacation with a 2-year-old, the best thing to do is you want it to be like a family deal where there are lots of people to look after the 2-year-old. So lots of people to relieve you, lots of grandparent type deal. You know, aunt and uncle. People think the 2-year-old's cute and want to spend time with it, like Jason does for 3 hours a day with his nephew.
2 days a week.
2 days a week, and that's about as much as you can possibly.
No, I could handle maybe 5 days a week. I'm just saying it's nice after 3 hours. I just couldn't imagine 24 hours a day of taking care of a 2-year-old. David Jackson up next. Number one, swept by the Twins is a huge buzzkill, making me reevaluate the Tigers' place in the baseball world. 2, forced hiatus for Couch in the Rube is too much to bear. In the future, please compile and release best of episodes, such David Jackson best hot take. 3, Boise State canceling the Michigan State home and home series because they lost their hotshot quarterback recruit to Tucker, possibly the most butthurt wimp-ass move since Gary Moeller claimed his Wolverines lost a road game because the host team had a crowned field.
So, a couple things here. One, we could do a David Jackson special. Like, we could do that as part of a sponsorship. You could just pay a certain amount, and we would do a Tuesday show that was just your hot takes, and we'd go over them.
Name, image, and likeness show.
Yeah, it would be.
We'll take your money.
Yeah, be that.
Who wants to do a podcast? You guys want to come in?
The
$100.
No, David's been all on the Tigers, right? And the
what does that mean? All on them?
Well, like he's thought they were decent. He thought they were shouldn't be betting against. He thought they were worth rooting for. He thought they had something going, and they did have something going for. They were above 500 for 2 months. Like they
were fun to watch. For a bit.
That's legitimate. The Twins thing, losing 4 straight going to the All-Star break, and the way they lost some of those games is sort of the issues they have, especially in the bullpen. No doubt it's a buzzkill because it felt for a minute like they were going to get to 500 really quickly. And then who the hell knows? You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden you're going, wait a second, is this team, are we going to be talking about them in late August? Like are they like a fringe wild card team? Probably not going to make the wild card, but are they like, you know, when they show the standings on TV, the wild card standings, are like the Tigers going to be in the wild card standings in late August because they've crept above 500? And all of that, I think, went out the window with that. And Boise State, I don't know that Boise State, I've not checked with anybody. And
then it has to be the weirdest timing of all time.
It doesn't make it is stupid for Boise. There's so much money at stake. And to bring, I mean, I don't know. It just, to me, it seems like if it's what happened, it seems like a really small-time AD and football coach making that decision.
Derek R. Spartan up next. Number one, Mel Tucker is recruiting the type of athletes D'Antonio should have been recruiting after the college football playoff. 2, it has never been easier to become indifferent toward pro sports. Give me college football. 3, Djokovic is proof that being hardest to beat doesn't make you the greatest player of the game.
Right. I think
people not like Djokovic then, huh?
Yeah, he's not. I mean, Federer was such a beautiful player to watch. And I think people don't want Djokovic to be considered better than him. And yeah, he's not. I don't know. I don't have a problem with Djokovic. He's pretty amazing. And it's pretty amazing to me that like these 3 guys. I mean, I grew up on the era of Agassi and right after Boris Becker and Stefan Edberg, and then it was Sampras, Agassi, and those guys, and those were that was the world. And then to have all these guys be better than Sampras right away is pretty remarkable. Mel Tucker is recruiting. I mean. But if you look back to the best athletes D'Antonio got, he was getting these sort of guys in his prime. And in 2016, after the playoff, they had that class. Now, most of those guys were in the fold before they went to the playoff. But you're right. They lost some zest. And one of the things that Like I think lots of things have their run and they run out, and there's lots of things people should be grateful for the Mark D'Antonio year at Michigan State. But it is a little bit inexcusable that they couldn't do better given what they went 36-5. That should have parlayed itself into more. And what happened with the 2016 class had a lot to do with that. But the 2017 class was largely in the fold before everything fell apart. And those kids stuck with MSU. But that was not an unbelievable class. That class itself should have been better, and that probably should have been a sign.
Graham Carpenter up next. Number one, Thomas Wiltshire will connect MSU back to Detroit and pay off big time. 2, Tigers fucked up taking the high schooler at third pick. Might as well get Gavin Haas. 3, the NBA Finals aren't interesting to me this year. I gotta say it's true.
They aren't. Well, they've been all blowouts.
Yeah, but I mean, I've tried to gamble on it. Just like the numbers aren't fun. It's just kind of a dead series for me.
Well, it would help if
Milwaukee.
We just need some decent finishes is what we need. We need finishes that aren't decided before 5 minutes to go in the fourth. That's kind of been.
And the fact that Giannis is playing after that hyperextended that knee with that injury, man, that's crazy.
He's been incredible, and the takes are amazing. It's from Milwaukee just doesn't have a chance. They don't have enough pieces around Giannis after this. I don't know how after last night. I don't know how the Suns are gonna stop Giannis. I think it's got a chance to be a 6 or 7 game series still. What it needs is not to be a competitive series. It needs competitive games within the series for sure.
Nick Palmer up next. Number one, I had a better trip to Marquette than Graham. My class reunion was a success. 2, screw the name, image, and likeness debate. It's time to start the countdown to college kickoff. And 3, still trying to figure out how Nigeria beat USA in basketball.
Yeah, they lost by 83 last time they played USA, and then they beat them this time.
They were a 30-point underdog, Nigeria.
Would have been nice to be on the money line on Nigeria. I don't even know if there was a money line on Nigeria for that one. The name, image, and likeness thing is interesting because, first of all, it's a national writer story largely. I mean, it's a big story. It's a huge thing. But eventually, but national folks like to write about it because they don't actually have teams they cover, and their lives become largely irrelevant once the season – that's my usual dig at national writers. But once the – seasons start and people follow their teams, people are going to care more about their teams in the moment. It's an off-season story largely. People won't want to read about name, image, and likeness during the season, and I can't wait for the season. Look, in July I don't want to write about anything, so it came out about on July 1, so I have very little interest until later, but it is a huge deal, though. It's going to change the landscape. It's going to be good in certain ways for college athletics in terms of some kids not leaving and making bad decisions. It's going to be, I think, a mess in other ways, and the market's going to be fascinating to watch. It's just, right now, I don't know. It's a weird thing. I don't have a ton of interest in reading a whole lot about it right now. I mean, I understand it, but in reading about different cases and different guys, I mean, if there's something truly unique or something that's really innovative out there, that I'm interested in. But most of these stories are pretty repetitive at this time, and I'm glad you enjoyed Marquette. I loved being there, and it is just a freaking hell of a city. Also want to remind people, and I'm going to tweet this out, it's better on social, that the Eagle 5K by the son of Wesley Collins, one of our loyal listeners, Brody, his Eagle Scout project, is coming up on July 20th next week. $20 per person, $32 per person with a T-shirt, or you can just make a donation, and I'll tweet that link out. But a good way to support Wes Collins and his son, who's doing a cool thing in Eaton Rapids and building a project to build a pavilion at the Hamlin Township Park, a local park in Eaton Rapids. I don't know if anybody here's been an Eagle Scout, but Jason and I were so far from ever making it. We're like wolf badge guys. Maybe the Bob.
I think I quit before that.
Really? Didn't even get the wolf?
I think they hand you a wolf badge like the first day.
It's like the Bearcat or the Bobcat, or there's something like early on that you get very easily.
You glue wood together and you get a fucking
But anyway, I'm gonna look for that tweet and that Facebook post. We'll get that out there a little more. And just if you're into running, into walking, whatever it is, participating, a cool thing to do on the 20th of this month. That's next week. And if you're not, cool way to donate and help a kid doing a really cool thing for somebody who's a loyal listener of the show. All right, back to these hot takes.
Santa Rube, presented by Hawaii Spa. Number 1, 4th of July, when held over the weekend, is the best holiday of the year. Yes, even better than Christmas. 2, Boise State butthurt about losing Hauser and cancel the series. Crybabies. 3, Conor McGregor never steps foot in the octagon again.
So I'm going to get into this Boise State thing one more time. First of all, if there was a gentleman's agreement in college football that a commitment meant jack shit, then I would understand it a little more. Like, he had been committed for a long time. It definitely probably screwed them on who they were recruiting in that class, quarterback, no question. But this is the game. A commitment doesn't mean anything. Eventually, all these kids should be able to sue their college coaches when they get divorced because they didn't understand the word commitment, right? The whole sport's screwing their heads. It's not a commitment. It's a lien. I'm thinking about going here. Until they sign, there's no such thing as a commitment. And this is the game. Boise State, I'm sure, does it to other schools. And, D'Antonio was real big on not letting kids take other visits. And for this reason, he wanted people to be very, committed when they were actually committed. But Michigan State, even under D'Antonio, flipped other kids. Like, this is the way it's done. It's not great. But also, there's a certain age kid that is probably too young. I don't know exactly how old Caton Hauser was when he committed to Boise State, probably 16. Like, if you're 15, you shouldn't even be allowed to commit. You don't know what the hell you want in college. You're 15 years old.
You should at 16?
I don't know. Again, but I'm just saying, if this had anything to do with why Boise State canceled the series, which doesn't make any sense, given the gate that they would have got with Michigan State, given the payday. I don't know what the contract was actually anymore, but the gate they would have got with Michigan State,
Was there a reason given in the release of why it was canceled?
No, not that I've seen. And again, you do something in July, I'm only half paying attention. I'll certainly talk to people as I get back to work here this week.
Kevin from Rochester Hills. Number 1, Joey Chestnut is the best athlete ever. 2, Raccoon Graham could eat 77 hot dogs and 12 groovy donuts. And 3, we could use more rain.
Yeah, fuck the mosquitoes that are coming out with this.
They're brutal.
It's been bad. It's been awful.
Out in Ovid.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
We're about to get more rain tonight, too.
Yeah, it's not great for them. We need a drought or something. How many hot dogs do you think you could eat?
4.
That's it?
Yeah. I can't eat like that.
I could definitely do 10 without question.
And how long?
I don't know, 5 minutes.
I don't believe that.
And we're not going to do
with
that.
No toppings?
No toppings. Just
so
water.
Are you going to dump them in water?
Yeah.
Oh.
But you're asking me how many I could do. I could do 10.
How about 20?
Nope.
15?
Maybe.
Oh, I don't believe you.
I'm not going to try it.
All right, bam. Eric Uzdanik up next.
I think it's Uzanik.
I know. Number 1, people upset Branson went to space instead of solving world hunger, something that, no, you just can't buy, are not fun at parties. 2, get vaccinated. 3, get vaccinated, but don't say people should still wear masks. You're demotivating a crucial group we need for the herd immunity.
No doubt. At this point, you're playing mind games. Whatever you got to do. I love this. Like, tonight's the first drawing for the lottery, right? Motivate people. In Michigan, you can win a lot of money if you're vaccinated and sign up. Have you signed up for that yet?
No. I thought you could only do it if you were young. It's like for scholarships and all that.
No. There's cash, and it's for anybody.
Oh.
I got to get you into this.
Yeah, where's it at? What? I thought it was just for younger people that were 17 and under or something.
No, the scholarships are for them, but the cash is for us.
Oh. Where do I sign?
Yeah, I'll send you a link.
Ethan Charmella up next. Number 1, if you're going to eat a slushy snow cone, using a spoon is the way to do it. If you use a straw, all the flavor is gone in 2 sips. 2, I wish I knew that when I was 7. 2, if someone else asks you to drive their car, it takes at least 10 to 15 minutes to feel comfortable. 3, never get fooled by a Yankee candle sale. I bought 4 candles last spring at Eastwood, and I'm worried that I might have these things until I'm 80.
Oh, man. So a couple things. One, I love these 3 takes because they're all very different things that have been on your mind, Ethan. But I'm with you on Yankee candle sales. I mean, my wife loves Yankee candles, and every time I go in there, there's like 30% off something, and I wind up, that makes sense. And I walk out of there with this massive bag that's heavy, and sometimes I get the wrong. That's not true. I usually get the right. But still, it's the Yankee candle sales get you, man.
You buy the Yankee candles?
My wife
the wife likes them, but you buy them.
Well, if I'm over there, I don't go over there as much anymore because the bookstore, Schuler's, right, is gone. So less reason, but yeah.
Spawn of stout sponsors up next. Number 1, soccer is stupid, but would be interesting if the offsides rule was coherent. This take brought to you by Quaker Oatmeal. Are you bland, room temperature, and rubbery? Then see my friends at Quaker Oatmeal. 2, did you see any northern lights during your vacation? How blown out on SkyMint were you when you did? SkyMint, when you want the sky to dance for you, stop by SkyMint. They will answer all your questions about slipping loose into another dimension. 3, the Cubs teardown is beginning, and they will be back in the World Series before the Tigers. This take brought to you by CSL Plasma. If you can't make ends meet or a cheap bastard, then stop in and join the ranks of Major League Baseball billionaire owners to drain a vein and stuff cash in your pocket.
Well done. Spawn of stout sponsors.
It's impressive.
It is. The oatmeal story lives. I was trying to think if I had a great story, and we'll get into more stories worth telling, presented by Midtown Brewing Company, 402 South Washington. Mind outstanding brunch specials, outdoor covered patio, and you might run into me either tonight or tomorrow night. And remember, it's
lucky you.
Yeah, lucky you. 20% off your tab. If you run into me, I will buy you a beer at Midtown Brewing Company without question. If I run into you, I'll buy you a beer.
I hope 10 people show up.
But what was I going to go on to this? Seeing the Northern Lights on vacation. No, but the cool thing about Marquette in the summer is you do get to see, the sun sets like 10:30 p.m. over Lake Superior. It's incredible. Like right around late June, early July. There's nowhere else I've ever been where it's light that late. It's fun.
Woke
Is that
Couch.
a great story we're telling?
That was great. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Woke Couch up next. Number 1, the Big Ten office should establish quotas for black coaches. 2, Brendan Quinn should be canceled for writing a story about a black golf caddy who didn't know a sand wedge from a sandwich. And yes, Quinn actually wrote that in a tweet, but don't worry, I white guilted him into deleting it. Of all of our sponsors, Groovy Donuts most egregiously commits cultural appropriation. I got to say, Woke Couch, the bit's kind of getting weird. I'm not going to lie. Especially at and the sponsors. It's just, I don't know. I think the bit's dead.
Wow, you're calling out Woke Couch as the bit's dead?
Yeah. It's not, none of it's kind of funny, and it's just like they're adding people, right?
Well, yeah,
you do whatever you want, keep it going, but it just seems like it's kind of.
I'd say it's hit and miss. There's some funny.
There's been funny things a part of it. I'm just saying, adding the sponsors and doing this kind of weird shit where it looks like it's a legit comment. I don't know. Hans Jurgen up next. Number 1, it's good you guys took a break. My mom said I needed new material. 2, people say I should mow my mom's yard. I say she's got 2 good wheels on her chair. 3, they also say I should spend more time with her. Hey, I waved to her when I saw her at the stop sign the other day.
Jesus. Good stuff, Hans.
Always got 3 more. Good Lord. Hans, love Copa and Euro Cup. Love the drama and national pride. 2, screw Man City, Real Madrid, etc. Get rid of these pro clubs. Give me national teams all day, all the time. 3, can't decide if soccer fans sing and dance in the stands because of their passion or because they're bored.
Being part of a supporter group or a good soccer crowd is amazing for a while. And
those people that bang the drums the whole game.
Yeah, I don't like being in the supporters group. I like to actually sit down. I get annoyed by that, but I understand why some people enjoy it. And it can be fun for a while. Like, I would love if they sold a ticket where, like, half the game you sat in the supporter section, and then the second half I got to sit down and enjoy my drink and stuff.
Jake Hawkins up next. Number 1, about time Milwaukee got their shit together and made the NBA Finals interesting. Great bounce-back win last night. Now make it a series by tying things up Wednesday night. 2, moving up the MSU Washington home-and-home football series was the best thing we as fans could have asked for. I'm already planning on making the trip to Seattle next year. 3, another pitcher taken by the Tigers in the Major League Baseball draft. Let's hope they're building up a starting rotation similar to ones they had from 2006 to 13 so they can make another streak of postseason appearances.
Totally. If this new cat winds up being added to a competitive team, I don't think...
This new cat. You're like a 60s jazz musician.
That's
Hey, we could just get these couple of cats.
The MSU Washington series, I think, is a cool series. Next year, MSU's at Washington. I think. Look, Boise was going to be fun. People acting like Washington's better. Boise, Idaho is a cool place. I was kind of looking forward to that. But Seattle's cool too, and Washington will be a fun series. And that campus is amazing. I'm not saying it's a bad deal. I was kind of looking forward to the Boise trip though.
And lastly, the Upper Deck Jerk Guy. Number 1, the show suffered without my takes and questions. 2, people need to stop getting excited about recruits. And 3, teams in tropical zones should not be hockey dynasties.
So, Tampa is a hockey dynasty. You into them or no? Can you do
I'm
that?
into them because Steve Yzerman was kind of the architect of Tampa Bay, right?
They're a hell of a team, and I won some money off them, so I'm good with it.
That always counts.
Yeah, people need to stop getting excited. But recruiting is. There's nothing wrong with being excited about recruiting in the sense that it is the talent acquisitions part of college sports, and so I get that. And in basketball, I especially get it. And in football, I think it especially at positions where you get the next Charles Rogers, you get a receiver, you get a position where there's more than one. It's the quarterback position where there's just so much evidence. It's a difficult position, and there's so much evidence. Guys that you think are big deals in high school aren't the ones who pan out in college. That I just struggle to get fired up about, and that's all it is. And Caton Hauser, I hope he winds up being God's gift to football, and that people around Michigan State can enjoy him, and that it leads them to a college football playoff. But I would bet you a lot of money that that's not what's going to happen, just because the odds are with me. And
you just like to crush dreams.
I know. I apologize.
After 2 weeks of being gone.
Apologize. Apologize.
Appreciate you.
It's good to be back. We appreciate Skymint for their support. Go to skymint.com. Skymint locations throughout the state. You can find out how close you are to a Skymint location. My mother-in-law's on Skymint. My father-in-law's on Skymint. I'm on Skymint. Jason's. I have my friend. Everybody's on Skymint. Give it a try. Do it in moderation. They'll help you. They'll guide you on a cannabis journey that works for you. Appreciate Midtown Brewing Company, and go to Midtown Brewing Company on Facebook. Look at their menu. They're always increasing it, always adding new cool items. Just a great place to hang out. Outstanding beer selection, great menu. We'll be back on Wednesday, and we'll have some fun. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
Catch the roof.
Find Couch and a Rude podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes.